What the hell's going on, people? This is Periodic, and you see the title of the video. We are jumping back into Dragonball Z Dokkan Battle in order to do, for the month of May, our LR tier list for global.
I shut it down wherever power is stored. Being real is in the past, watching cowards get on. It ain't kill me, so it's making me stronger. And these bite-sized rappers now sensing my home.
Well, here we are once again. And what is shocking to me, what is absolutely shocking to me, is as I was coming up with this and thinking about it and going over my last list, last month's list, and going over this one is really different. And it is smaller. I think this is actually the smallest, the least amount of tiers I've ever created. I am going to try to not make this an hour long, even though I could. And so I'm just going to try to have a one sentence. It's probably going to be a run-on sentence, but a one sentence reason for each character being in each tier. If you don't know how this works, this is global only. So as you can see, JP has its own section, Japan only. That's the 6-year anniversary units, all of them, plus LR Tapion. We also have free-to-plays are not going to be on this list. They're going to get their own list. I should come out with that before the end of the month. And then how this tier list works is in terms of strength down. So Zeno tier is at the top. Obviously, it's the strongest character in all of Dragon Ball Super, and so the strongest characters in all of Dragon Ball Dokkan Battle will be up there. It's followed by Grand Priest tier, followed by Whis tier, followed by Beerus tier, followed by Supreme Kai tier, followed by Grand Kai tier, followed by King Kai tier. Let me make a note right now that anybody in the Grand tier and above is useful. Anybody in the Supreme Kai tier and above is good. Anybody in the Beerus team and above is great. Anybody in the Whis tier and above is broken. Anybody in the Grand Priest tier and above is just insane. And anybody in the Zeno tier above are cheat code. So just that's essentially how I rank them. King Kai tier, they need help. They really do. So let us start this list. And the first character on it has to be Super Saiyan 2 Intelligence Gohan. So if we take a quick peek at him, the reason why he's going to be all the way at the bottom is he has 0 defense whatsoever. He can get Mega Colossal off of his 12 and 18 key, which is extremely unique, and he can get a ridiculous amount of orbs, meaning he's almost always going to get 18 key, and he's almost always going to get a ton of attack boost. But the fact that he has 0 defense means that he's going to die very easily. Next up, Majin Vegeta Agl. So this guy is in a very similar boat as the Intelligence Gohan. He's going to be able to do a lot of attack or a lot of damage because he gives himself 150% attack boost when he supers. And not to mention, his 12 key allows him to do Mega Colossal. So you don't have to grab a lot of orbs. But again, just like with Gohan, no defense. That means that he can end up dead very quickly. Let's keep it moving. Goten and Trunks Agl. The theme is not being able to take damage, and these guys definitely can't. They give themselves a lot of attack when they do super, and if you're able to get 18 key super attacks, then they're actually going to give themselves a little bit of defense. 30% boost, which is like not crazy. That, by the way, 70% of the time you do an 18 key, you're going to get a 30% boost. You may get lucky on that 30%. Of the time, 3 out of 10 times, you may get that 50% attack and defense boost, but it's not something that you can kind of hang your hat on or rely on. And again, in terms of defensive-oriented characters going into difficult events, this guy is not one of them. And let's finish up the King Kai tier with Super Saiyan 3 Tech Goku. So this Goku's fascinating because he can give himself a bit of defense. As you can see, he starts off with 120% defense. The problem is that if you do an 18 key super attack, you actually lose a ridiculous amount of it to the point where he's left with just 30% defense, which again, in events where you can get hit really hard, he will get hit really hard if he's doing his 18 key super attack. And he does a lot of damage on his 18 key super attack, 180% attack boost. So you want to do the 18 key super attack, but at the same token, you don't want to because he'll die. Okay, let's move up to the Grand Kai tier, and we're going to start with the Strength Trunks and Mai. So this guy's actually decent in a lot of different areas. The fact that he's got that 50% chance to stun on his 18 keys, really good. And he can get pretty darn strong if you build a team full of time traveler enemies and if you are facing off against future saga enemies. Now, the problem is that you want to bring people that actually link with him, and so that kind of limits the characters that you can bring along on a time traveler's team. And again, if you have him on any other team, like for example, Joined Forces or Battle of Wits or Revenge, then you're not going to see a lot of time travelers on that for the most part. So that means that you can really only run him on Future Saga and Time Travelers to really get the most out of him. And that definitely gets rid of some marks on his score sheet. Let's keep it pushing with the next Trunks, Super Saiyan Physical Trunks. So honestly, as an OG LR, this guy's actually aged fairly well. You know, he's mini stacking defense for 3 turns, which is not bad. He gives himself that 50% chance to crit, and then his links are pretty solid for a Super Saiyan character. I mean, in difficult events, the defense is not enough, unfortunately, because he has none in his passive, and that really holds him back. Moving along, base form Physical Bardock. So this is Dragon Ball Z Bardock, not Dragon Ball Super Bardock. This guy's still fairly good because he's kind of like a jack of all trades, right? He can give himself attack and defense. He gives himself extra attack if he's facing only one enemy. He's giving himself defense if he's facing more than one enemy. He seals, which is really good. The problem with him is that he's just been straight up replaced by his TUR version, who's better in pretty much every single way. Now, you can theoretically run 2 of them on the same team if you want to, run some kind of low-class warrior team once that same name update, but unfortunately, we're not there yet on Global. We're still waiting for that. We're going to put this guy definitely on the Grand Kai tier, Vegeta and Napa. So I just want to make the point right now that this Napa is like barely a mid card. This Vegeta is fantastic. Unfortunately, the condition dropping below 50% HP and waiting 4 turns is not the best. It's not as bad as the 3-year anniversary units, but it's not the best. The problem with this guy is that he's at 78% attack and defense, which is good, but you're almost never going to dodge with him unless if you're using your active skill, and then you'll gain 78% attack, but then you'll lose 50% of it, which is just, that doesn't even make sense. And then if you're facing multiple enemies, he's giving himself a flat boost like he's a free-to-play character, which is just even more confusing. It just makes 0 sense. Whereas the Vegeta, this guy is fantastic, recovering your HP, 100% attack and defense, giving himself more stats if he's facing one enemy, attacks effective against all types at 24 key, gives himself more bonus if he's facing superclass enemies. I mean, this is just a dream here. So what they should have done is made the exchange condition, get rid of the 50% HP requirement, and just have it the 4th turn from the start of battle, and that would have been a great card. But since you're going to be stuck in Napa the majority of the time, I got to put him where he is. Last but not least, Strength LR Frieza. Now, if you guys have checked out any of my LR lists before, you know that I've put Frieza higher than this. This is actually probably the lowest I've ever put him. And it's really because of defense. He just doesn't have a lot of it. 80% is just not enough, and not to mention, if you're hitting those 12 key super attacks, you're losing health. Now, I understand why they built that mechanic, because you want to have him with as much key and as much attack as possible, but this dude is like the epitome of a glass cannon. He can't really take hits well at all, and he hits pretty good, but I mean, there's characters that hit a lot harder than him. So like the mechanic to me is not worth the payoff. That doesn't mean that he's bad. He's still pretty darn solid, but he just isn't, after I reevaluated him, he's just not as high as I used to think he was. All right, let's skip on up to the next tier, which is the Supreme Kai tier, and the GT Trio is moving on up. It's funny because I've mentioned this multiple times whenever I've rated this card somewhat poorly. I usually put it in the bottom tiers, not in the bottom tier, but usually second or third tier. And I would always say these guys are going to be a lot better when they get more characters. Bandai Namco has listened, Katsuki has listened, and they've actually started to implement more characters and putting them on better categories. GT Heroes, there you go. Now you have 2 orb changers. Now you have 2 characters that are really helped them out in the Intelligence Vegeta and the Physical Goku. But this character is fantastic, giving themselves that defensive bonus, giving themselves that ridiculous amount of attack, and just being an overall great card, right? With Prepared for Battle and Shattering the Limit. You're going to have GT, which is always a great link for all of the GT characters. I mean, if you look at it at level 10, it's 2 key and 10% attack and defense. You can't really ask for anything better than that. And I believe that this card will keep on climbing the ranks as they release more GT characters. Next to that trio will be the Broly Movie Boss trio. So I've made this statement before, but if this card was a Goku or Vegeta, they would probably be one of the best characters in the game. Unfortunately, they're a Broly, Chile, and Lemo card, and so they have terrible links, and they're only on 2 categories. But in terms of what they do is absolutely insane. If you grab 7 or more orbs, you're automatically dodging, you're gaining attack and defense per orb that you get, you're gaining ki. If you get certain orbs, then you're giving allies attack. If you're gaining certain orbs, you're giving allies defense. You're greatly raising defense on your 12 and 18 key super attack. You just can't get any better than that, but unfortunately you just can't put them on any teams. Next up, Beerus and Whis. So this is definitely one of those feast or famine cards. This card here, Beerus and Whis, on their own team, on a Realm of Gods team with Physical Beerus, with Strength Whis, with Intelligence Vados, just getting buffed to high hell is so tanky and so destructive. Gaining back HP just looks absolutely insane because once they get hit for 5 turns, they'll be sitting at 188% attack, which is really good. Unfortunately, if you're not building the team around them and really babysitting them with supports, they don't look good at all. All right, next to Beerus and Whis, Physical Cell. I mean, honestly, it's Cell and friends, right? Cell and Cell Juniors. This guy's great, recovers HP on the super attack and then also does the AoE, which is really good, and you get a lot stronger as there's more enemies. You kind of just cap that 90% bonus, though, which is a little unfortunate for defense, and so in the future, not in the future, but in more difficult events, more hard-hitting events, you still can get hit fairly hard. The links really help out all these Cell characters. It just makes them so much better than what they used to be. So this guy's still fairly good for how long he's been out. Next to the Cell, I'm throwing Goku Black, Rose, and Zmas. By the way, still one of my favorite units in the game, just because they're built so interesting, gaining defense on their super and gaining HP at the start of turn and gaining attack as they get attacked. I believe this is a better version than like the Intelligence Goku Black, the TUR, not the LR, but the TUR base form one, because at least this dude gives himself HP back at the start of turn, which is good. So if you get hit, you can recover a little bit, and you're gaining defense on your super attack. But obviously the TUR does as well. But this card just has a god tier link set as well, and is still a fairly solid choice. Now, if you're facing like a Super Battle Road or something like that, gonna be fairly difficult to get by it by using this dude. This guy's really just made for longer events or like medium events. Keep it going. We're putting LR AGL Baby on here. I'm still a huge fan of this Baby card. If he's facing Pure Saiyans or Hybrid Saiyans, he's going to really do damage. Unfortunately, there's not really a lot of events where you're going to be facing both at the same exact time, because that's when he's going to be at his strongest. I think there's only like one Dokkan event that does that, which is a little unfortunate. I do like that he's got that chance to become a giant ape, which is really solid. The problem is, like, if... I don't know. I feel like if GT Bosses was better, then I would have ranked him higher, but that was kind of a letdown. It's not particularly a good category. And like, he's in a very weird spot where he has like this completely useless link, Hatred of Saiyans, and then he has like Metamorphosis, which is more for like androids. Big Bad Bosses is great. Thirst for Conquest is kind of more for like the coolers and stuff like that. So his links are kind of interesting. I wouldn't call them bad, but I also wouldn't call them great. We're throwing the LR androids on this category, the physical ones. Now, I really have to use these guys more, because even though they're a great support, I always feel like they get hit extremely hard. Now, I do like that they have that chance to dodge, but it goes away when you lose HP, which is kind of silly to me. They're a great assist on an Android squad, but again, it limits you to what teams that you can run them on. You're not going to be running them on Siblings Bond or Target Goku, for that matter, if you're not loading, or Joint Forces, if you're not loading them up with other Android cards. And of course, you need to have 2 or more Android cards on there to turn into 16. And when you're in 16 form, you are LR Jiren at that point, and you're performing very, very well. But sadly, it's only for 3 turns, which I do wish they gave you a bit more time with the 16 character. It kind of reminds me of the Vegeta and Napa situation, where the Vegeta is much better than Napa. In this case, the 16 is better, but I mean, these guys are great though, because they're support. The problem is that they're just not going to hold up on like an ESBR or something like that, taking the type of damage that can come out. All right, last but not least on the Supreme Card tier, Int God Goku. I've said my spiel about Int God Goku. He's kind of a mid card. Like, yes, he's got that nice crit and dodge for the first 7 turns, but if you're not building him on a Pure Saiyans or Hybrid Saiyans team, I mean, first off, he's not going to link that well with Hybrid Saiyan characters. He will with Pure Saiyans, but there's just much better options, since that's one of the biggest categories in the game. And that really means that you can't run him on a lot of Realm of God teams that don't have Pure Saiyans. You can't really run him on a Miraculous Awakening team if they're not all Pure Saiyans. It just kind of makes it a little bit wonky. He's still really solid. I love what he does, but I think some people do overrate this guy. All right, let's head up out to the Beerus tier. First up, Strength Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. This guy did indeed get kind of a sideways buff because of the GT hero characters coming out, right? The Goku and Vegeta. Because this guy loves rainbow orbs, and so that's going to make him even stronger. Accumulating all those rainbow orbs, it's going to make it so he can receive that or shoot out that 18 key super attack much easier. And that's really what this Vegeta wants to do. He wants to massively raise his attack. He wants to massively raise his defense, doing that 18 key, and then he wants to get to that 4th turn and just absolutely shower you with that ultimate damage. And we can't talk about one monkey without talking about the other, AGL Super Saiyan 4 Goku. I mean, this guy is just a slightly superior version to that Vegeta. He's got the better leader skill. Goku's family is a better category than Vegeta's family. And this guy massively raises his defense on his 12 key as opposed to his 18 key where he does both attack and defense. And he's still going to do the same, orb changing and stuff like that. Or I'm sorry, not orb changing, but he's still going to get the boost from the rainbow orbs just like the Vegeta does. And I mean, what can I say? This guy, even after 2 years now, he's still a fantastic card. Let's keep going. LR Tech Goku Frieza. So obviously this guy is going to shoot up the rankings once he gets his Extreme Z Awakening. At the moment right now, I do have to place him where I have him. He is fantastic when he's getting his Ultra Super Attack, particularly when the enemy is in attack down status. Now, if he gets hit before he's able to Super Attack, before he's able to attack, then he's going to get demolished because he has 0 stats before then besides what's in his Link skills. When he's EZA'd, that's not as big of an issue, but right now on Global, it still is. The first half of the 3 anniversary units, you got Goku and Vegeta Super Saiyan Intelligence. It's shocking how well these cards aged from the 3-year anniversary. That 120% attack and defense puts in so much work, even in very difficult events. And yes, it sucks that you have to wait 6 turns for them to transform, and you have to drop below that 50% HP requirement. But once that happens, the counters are fantastic. And not only that, getting that 18 key super attack and giving allies 30% attack, that is fantastic. And we can't talk about one of the 3-year anniversary units without talking about the other, Angel Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta. So here's the counter card, one would say, and these guys are just as good, let's be honest. Patara category better than Fusion, I would argue, and the raising allies attack is probably better than lowering enemies attack and defense, but even still, the fact that these dudes, their attacks are effective against all types, that's just a beautiful thing. And let's round out the Beerus tier with Tech Super Saiyan Legendary Broly. So the offensive juggernaut Tech Broly just does so much damage. Doesn't matter if they're facing one character or not. And I love that his transformation is kind of like the physical Super Saiyan Broly, where boom, 4 turns, and then he just turns into an even bigger colossal of himself. The strange thing with a lot of these Brolys, though, is that they still have defense issues, and this guy is no exception. Only 100% defense, and his links don't help him out all that much, so that is still an issue. But really, the deal with this dude is finish off your enemy before you can even be touched. All right, let's move up to the Whis tier, and the first character that we're going to put up there is the brand new Tech Android Super 17. Now, Super 17 is a card that on his own team with target Goku characters is absolutely phenomenal. You're looking at 200 to 300k defense. You're looking at 5-6 million attack stats. He is just a living legend. Unfortunately, if you're putting him on a team like, for example, Power Absorption or Inhuman Deeds or Artificial Life Forms, and there's not a lot of target Goku characters on there, or there's not a lot of Android characters on there, he's going to start showing flaws. He'll be sitting in the 100,000s defense, 120, 130, and he'll be doing about 2 million attacks, which is still good. It's just not mind-blowing as you would want it to be. Also, his active skill condition does suck. You have to get hit 7 times, which could happen turn 3. It can happen turn 13. It all really depends, and that is not fun. Next up, the Tech Go Bros Goten and Gohan. Honestly, still one of my favorite cards in the game because they quickly ramp up to where you want them to be. They're going to give themselves more stats every time they attack, and they attack multiple times per turn because of their passive, which is absolutely beautiful thing. They can be caught slacking turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 if they're not fully built up. But once they are, they're giving themselves an extra 216% attack and defense. And that's really going to be like on turn 5 or turn 7, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous thing. And then, of course, their active skill is not that hard to fire off. You just got to drop below 60% HP, and 3 turns have to pass by. That's not really bad. The homie Angel Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta Physical is up next. So I do think this card is just great. The unit super attack is not particularly hard to achieve because there are actually a lot of good Majin Buu Saga Goku characters, including the physical Super Saiyan Angel Goku from the Goku and Vegeta card that we talked about a little bit earlier, and the Strength Goku and Vegeta from the Strength Vegito card that you'll see later on. There's a few great characters that you can run alongside this Vegeta to activate that unit super attack. And I mean, being able to grab a lot of orbs on this character is not going to be too difficult, honestly, because you're going to be facing, you're going to be facing off against units that are going to be easy to take down once you're creating a great Majin Buu Saga team that's going to make this dude hit those 18 key super attacks, get that 24 key multiplier left and right. And not to mention, that active skill is very, very powerful. Next up, the first half of the 5-year anniversary Blue Fusions. Strength Gogeta. It is true that the luster has kind of wore off on the 5 years, just because it does take them a long time to get going. I mean, let's be honest, you got to transform after 4 turns, and then once you do transform, then you have to start building your 7% attack and defense. The good thing is that you're going to do that quickly, just like the Go Bros, because they attack multiple times each turn. And then once you're fully going, I mean, you're looking at what, 213%? Attack and defense. Like, that is spectacular. The thing is that these dudes, once they get built up, just wipe everything off the face of the planet very fast. Same goes for Tech Vegito. So this dude is just like the Strength Gogeta. The difference is that he does an additional super attack. Instead of attacks effective against all types, he's guaranteed an additional super attack, which is absolutely fantastic. And he's just very similar to the Strength Gogeta. He's also going to do phenomenal amounts of damage once they're built up. So really, after 7 turns, these two, this Vegito and this Gogeta, are still probably some of the most offensive-oriented monsters in the game. Not to mention their defense is pretty darn good too. Next up, Rose Goku Black. So talking about somebody who can impress you at 55%, this is one of those guys. If you grab a lot of ki, which is not hard because his link set is God tier, you're going to be doing phenomenal damage. And if you're able to kill off the enemy, next turn you're going to gain more ki, which is spectacular, up to 6. And I love that on 12 and 18 you're raising your defense, which is good. The problem this guy runs into is if he gets hit before he's able to super attack, you can get demolished. Let's keep pushing and add LR Kaioken Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Evolution Blue Vegeta. So these two just make Representative Universe 7 so darn strong. And during the 6-year anniversary, my God, that team is just going to get so much better. But you're talking about characters that are going to greatly raise their attack and defense on both 12 and 18. And they're increasing their chance to crits. I mean, what a great pair. My only real problem with them is, like, I don't understand why they lower their own defense on their active skill. Like, why didn't you just give them attack and defense, Bandai Namco? What's going on with that? All right, we're cruising right along. LR Kale and Khalifa staying on the Whis tier. These two still one of the best defensive cards in the game. Let's be very, very clear. They stack defense every single time they super attack, and they're going to be doing a lot of it because they super attack a lot. And keep in mind that every time they attack, they're gaining dodge up to almost 70% dodge. They're going to be at 66% dodge. So this is one of the best defensive units in the game. They're also great offensively. Like, no, they're not going to be doing like 7 million attack stats, but if they're doing 3 or 4, 3 million attack stats, that's still a hell of a lot of damage. So this card is definitely underrated by a lot of people. We are continuing on the Whis tier with LR Agl Gohan. Now, I absolutely love this LR Agl Gohan. I actually have him level 10 links and rainbowed. But it's funny, Japan's like fascination with having this guy ranked as like one of the best LRs in the game. I think that he's really good, but I do think that it's going to take him a bit of time to be able to get to his maximum. He's stacking defense, he's gaining attack. The problem with this Gohan is, unlike the Kale and Khalifa, unlike the Go Bros, he doesn't have an additional built into his passive, and so he actually gains those stats every turn at the start of it and by super attacking. So he doesn't really have a shortcut. And his active skill condition is probably still the worst in the game, if not up there for being one of the worst in the game. His counterpart does indeed belong on the Whis tier, LR Intelligence Cell. So I talked about Agl Gohan having one of the worst active skill conditions in the game. This dude's isn't as bad, but it's still not great. You have to drop below 30% HP, which sometimes could put you in a bad situation of wanting to take the hit, so you drop below the threshold, but then taking too much damage and you die, which is rough. But even then, he's really good. The fact that he's going to give himself a good defensive boost when he's at full health, essentially. And then if you do, for whatever reason, drop below that 30% threshold, you're going to get that full heal. And then if you're grabbing a ton of orbs, your attack and defense is just going to be absolutely through the roof. And then you can also do his active skill, which is going to do that ultimate damage, massively lower defense. Just, blow up the planet, essentially, with his solar Kamehameha. Last but not least on the Whis tier, I know there's so many cards on here, LR Intelligence Bojack. So the Bojack has gotten so much better just, by one card, which is the Strength Bojack. This guy is somewhat restrictive because of his links, but if you are activating his links, they are actually some of the strongest in the game. And if you're sitting him next to Strength Bojack, then you will be activating every link except for Legendary Power. You're looking at the Heraclan, which is giving him 5% crit, 5% attack, and 2 key. You're looking at Galactic Warriors, which is giving him 20% attack and defense and 2 key. Big Bad Bosses, which is giving him 25% attack and defense. Thirst for Conquest, 15% attack and defense. Revival, 2 key, 5% attack and defense. And if you drop below 50% HP, you're getting back 5% HP every turn. And then Shattering Limit, 2 key, and 5% attack and defense. This dude, he's going to be pumping out 5 to 6 million attack stats, and he's going to be sitting at over 300k damage. So he just can't take damage. And the reason why I actually rate him so highly is because of his 18 key super. He's giving extreme allies 40% attack. So you 100% want to have this man in turn 1 or slot 1. Okay, let's move up to the Grand Priest tier, and I'm going to be putting my guy, LR Physical Bootanks / Buhan. So I'll be honest, I was debating whether I wanted to keep him in the top tier, the Zeno tier, but I decided to move him down for this month just to see how it feels. Mainly because obviously his categories, Power Absorption, Majin Power, good, but they are smaller categories. I do love that he's able to rate both stack attack on his 12 key, stack defense on his 18 key. That's really, really good. And he just does everything. He's gaining type, he's gaining more key when he's grabbing type orbs. The fact that he's got the additional chance to super is really, really good. The thing that is a little bit annoying is when he transforms, which is not hard, his gimmick is to seal the enemy's super attack for 5 turns. Now, that works on like Extreme Super Battle Road and Super Battle Road if you are up to turn 4. It's a gamble getting to that turn, but at that point it's GG. You're just going to win because now the enemy can't super attack for 5 turns. You're going to finish them off at that point, and he's extremely powerful in this form. But you really want to finish those events before the 5-turn mark, and so that's why I was kind of like, let me lower him just 1 tier, just to see how it feels. Another character who I lowered 1 tier, LR Strength Turles. I mean, this guy is absolutely incredible. 50% chance to stun on the 18 key. He's a great support. And he's going to be just doing a whole lot for everyone on the team, which is really, really cool. My main problem is that if you're getting your 24 key, right, which is kind of hard, getting 24 key, I feel like he should have had his attack effective against all types and 100% chance to launch an additional super attack if you get your key to 24. I don't understand why it's a 50% chance. I mean, the Goku, the Vegito, the Tech Vegito gets 100% chance to super attack in turn 1 or 2. So it's like, bro, just give it to the boy Turles. Come on now. And his active skill is also really rough. 8 turns. 8 turns. That is not particularly good. Obviously can be activated when HP is 60% or less, but on shorter events, I mean, you could potentially get it pretty quick if you are doing Super Battle Road or Extreme Super Battle Road or whatever. But the 8-turn thing just doesn't feel right. Next up, Super Saiyan 2 Tech Gohan. So this dude is just fantastic. I absolutely love this card. The fact that you're gaining defense on 8, 12, and 18 is fantastic. The fact that you're gaining so much off of type orbs. You're gaining so much when you 18 key super attack. And if you have a Movie Heroes Goku on your team, then you're just like absolutely, you can just one-shot anything in this game. This character can get up to like 20 million attack stat. It's just ridiculous, the one-shot mechanic that this character has. And his defense, as I mentioned in the beginning, his defense could get very, very good as well. So I'm a huge fan of this Super Saiyan 2 Youth Gohan. All right, the final 5. First is going to be Strength Ui Goku on this Grand Priest tier. So I'll just say the drawback of this card right off the bat, he starts with 77% defense, so if he gets hit early on, he can take a lot of damage. That's kind of like where his faults stop, because he's disabling the guard 12 and 18, so the rest of the turn can really put in work. And every time he dodges, he gets stronger. He'll eventually cap out at 77% extra attack and defense, meaning he'll be sitting at 213% attack and defense after he's dodged 7 times. And he gives himself 70% dodge for 7 turns. After 7 turns, it's 50% dodge. It's crazy. So the damage mitigation this guy has and the damage output is off the charts. Same goes for LR Agl Super Saiyan Goku. So honestly, people kind of sleep on this Goku and they don't understand how good this dude actually is, right? Like 12 key, you're greatly raising your defense, so his defense is going to be fantastic. Not to mention he's gaining so much by grabbing any kind of orbs. He links up perfectly with Super Saiyan characters, and there's a ton of them, so you could just put a ton of them on your team, right? If we just quickly look at Super Saiyans, look how big this category is. Look at this. This is actually insane. So he's going to be sitting pretty with a bunch of different characters. And then if you're doing like Super Battle Road or something like that, because he orb changes, he can get 18 key super attacks so easily. He seals at that point. So this guy just kind of does it all. And obviously the orb changing really helps out the team as well. So high defense, high attack, orb changing, seals. So he's got utility. You can't really ask for much more. All right, let's take a look at the final 3 and move on up to the Zeno tier. Let's start off with Goku and Angel Vegeta, Strength Vegito. So I do think that this card is potentially the best LR in the game at the moment, just because they do everything, and they do it a little bit better than the physical Boo-Tank/Buhan. The dual leader skills are probably one of the best combinations in the game, Battle of Wits and Majin Buu Saga. You're raising attack and defense both on 12 and 18 key. In this form, 30% damage reduction. You're grabbing so much orbs from any type orb, and you have that 30% chance to dodge, which is absolutely insane. And then when you transform into the Super Vegito, yes, you lose the damage reduction, which sucks, but you're gaining a big heal. You're still increasing your attack and defense on your supers. Now you can actually see where super attacks are for 10 turns. And so that means that you want to position him against enemies that are just going to normal attack, and you're going to counter and just do so much damage. So he really fixes that weakness of getting rid of that damage reduction, but you get to see where the normal attacks are, so you can counter and do a ton of damage. So you want to put a lot of crit into this guy. And that's the crazy thing too, is that he actually gives himself 30% chance to crit in this form. So if you put even more crit into him, oh my goodness, he's just going to just demolish everything. Next on the Zeno tier, Tech LR Jiren. So I just want to point out that Jiren is a one-man wrecking crew. 200% attack and defense just to start off with, and every time he gets hit, he actually gives himself ki. So getting that 18 ki, that 18 ki super attack, which massively lowers defense and has a 30% chance to stun, will be that much easier to do. And then, like, the crazy thing is, okay, so he gives himself a chance to stun. That's great, right? He's going to be next to his Strength Jiren partner, who also has that chance to stun, which is great. Well, this guy's going to guarantee crit when enemies are stunned, which is insane. But that's not all. If the enemy gets dropped into attack down or defense down status, then his attacks will just be effective against all types. So on Super Battle Road and Extreme Super Battle Road, where enemies are susceptible to being stunned, attack down, defense down, this guy just obliterates. Absolutely obliterates. And it's difficult for him to get hit 5 times unless if he's like in the first spot, and then maybe like turn 3, turn 5 it can happen on a Super Battle Road. Because once that does happen, it's GG at that point. His active skill is live. Now he's stunning all enemies. He's giving himself 30% attack and defense. He's lowering enemies' attack and defense by 30%. And since their attack is down, their defense is down, they're stunned, he's now effective against all types and guaranteed critting. The dude is just a monster. Last but not least, LR Strength, Extreme Z Awakened Broly. So this dude is unbelievable with his Extreme Z Awakening. Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, Strength. But again, just like some of the other cards I mentioned, gaining that attack and defense on either super attack is crazy. The craziest thing about this dude is that he's guaranteed to launch an additional super attack. And that additional super attack, that 12 key, is an AoE, so it hits everybody, which is crazy. And then, like, just read what he does. 50% attack and defense, but he's got great links, so that's going to be even higher. And then when he does his super attack, he gives himself an additional 50% attack and defense. And then he's giving himself 5 ki for every Pure Saiyan or Hybrid Saiyan enemy. And guess what? There's a lot of those. And if he's facing a Goku's family, not Goku, but Goku's family enemy, he cannot be dodged, and his attacks are effective against all types, which is just, he's a wild man. He really is a wild man. If only Berserker was a better link, he'd probably be like one of the best LRs in the game. But Berserker just sucks because you have to be under 50% HP. But anyway, there you go. That is the tier list, everybody. Global LR tier list. My shortest one yet. Least amount of tiers, I do believe. But probably still went an hour, let's be honest. I appreciate everybody that sat through all of this and checked this out. If you didn't watch the whole thing, I understand if you came at the end. But at least go back to the character that you want to disagree with with me and look at the reason why I said where they are, right? That would at least make me feel a little bit better that you understood my reasoning for that. Now, if you don't subscribe to the channel, I don't understand your reasoning for that. Click that blue join button, become a Boomer champion like Wolverine Gaming and Joe V. If you want to do the free-to-play way, go ahead and gently rub that sub button, gingerly ring that bell button, lovingly kiss the like button. As always, this is Periodic. See y'all in the next video.